Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take source materials, things you're curious about, and really pull out the key insights. Basically, we want to give you a shortcut to feeling, genuinely well-informed.
And today, we're getting into Brendon Burchard's high-performance habits. Specifically, we're looking at his HP6 model.
Right. We've got some material that gives an overview and then some that goes a bit deeper into three of the habits.
Yeah, our goal isn't just to list things off. We really want to unpack this stuff for you, explore how you might actually apply these ideas.
Exactly. So Burchard splits high performance into 6 habits. There are personal ones and social ones. The personal ones are seek clarity, generate energy, and raise necessity.
And the social.
Those are increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage.
Okay. And for this deep dive, we're really zeroing in on 3. Seek clarity, raise necessity, and demonstrate courage.
That's the plan. We'll pull out the definitions, sure, but also
Yeah.
try to dig into the practical side of these 3.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Clarity.
Yeah, let's kick off with seek clarity. A big takeaway from the sources is that high performers, they just have this really strong sense of who they are,
And not just who they are, but how they want to interact with people and what they're actually trying to achieve.
Right? It's all about being intentional, not just sort of floating along.
Absolutely. And Burchard talks about this concept, the future 4. Heard of that?
Saw that, yeah. Self, social, skills, and service. He's saying high performers are clear in all these areas.
Pretty much. They actively cultivate clear intentions for each one. Maybe we can look at self first.
Okay, so self is about being really deliberate, intentional about the kind of person you want to become,
Yeah, it goes beyond just setting goals. It's like envisioning your best future self.
and then trying to act like that person now, today.
Yeah.
That can feel a bit abstract sometimes, though, can it?
It definitely can. But the source offers a pretty practical way in. It suggests imagining that best version of you and then thinking what words describe that person, like aspirational words, maybe alive, playful, grateful, as the source mentions, or perhaps resilient or focused.
Ah, I see. So those words become like anchors for how you act day to day.
Exactly. They reflect your values, what you aspire to be. It's like you're actively choosing and shaping your identity. Makes it more concrete.
That does make it more tangible than just a vague wish. Okay, so after self, the next part of the future 4 is social. This is about being intentional in how you deal with other people.
Right. And what jumped out at me were the specific questions Burchard suggests asking yourself before you go into an important interaction.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Things like, how can I be a good person or leader here? Or what does the other person actually need from this?
And what kind of tone or mood do I want to set?
Exactly. Asking those forces you to pause and think proactively. It helps you avoid just, reacting based on habit or emotion.
Leading with intention instead of just responding. Makes sense. Okay, then comes skills.
This isn't just about raw talent, obviously. It's about a conscious effort to figure out what abilities you'll need for future success.
In your main field, right? Your primary area of interest.
Precisely. And then deliberately developing them. High performers don't just hope they get better.
No, they're actively learning, practicing deliberately, and crucially, reflecting on how it's going. It's a very intentional cycle.
It really is. A constant focus on improvement.
Okay, and the last piece of the future 4 is service. This one really seemed to emphasize that high performers aren't just in it for themselves.
Not at all. They're deeply invested in making a positive impact, always thinking about who they serve and what those people genuinely need.
Yeah, and Burchard gets specific about service, mentioning relevance, differentiation, and excellence.
Right. Relevance is about making sure what you offer is actually valuable to the people you're serving. Does it meet a real need?
Okay, differentiation.
That's about understanding what makes your contribution unique. Why should someone choose what you offer or listen to you? What sets it apart?
And excellence. Well, striving to be great at it, I assume.
Pretty much. Consistently aiming to deliver beyond expectations. It's this whole package being relevant, distinct, and excellent that defines impactful service for high performers.
The source material really contrasts this with underperformers, suggesting they tend to be much more focused inward, on themselves.
Yeah, it's presented as a pretty fundamental difference in outlook. High performers direct their energy outwards towards others' needs.
It's a recurring theme, actually.
It is. Okay, should we move on to the second habit we're focusing on? Raise necessity.
Let's do it. This one's about finding that internal drive, right? Believing that high performance is absolutely essential not just optional.
Exactly. It's tapping into that feeling of, I must do this. Because let's face it, without that deep sense of importance, sustaining high performance is tough.
For sure. So Burchard points to 4 factors that create this feeling of necessity, and he groups them, internal and external.
That's right. The internal ones are identity and obsession. The external drivers are duty and urgency.
Okay. Identity first, then. We sort of touched on this with self in the clarity section.
Hey, we did. It links back here. Identity is about really tying your sense of who you are to maintaining high standards. Excellence becomes part of your self-concept.
The source had that Vince Lombardi quote.
Mm.
Something about the quality of life being proportional to your commitment to excellence.
Yeah, the quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. It captures that idea perfectly.
So our performers don't just do excellent work. They see themselves as people who do excellent work. It's baked into their identity.
Right. They're constantly asking themselves, did I perform with excellence today? It's a personal standard they hold themselves to.
Okay. Then the second internal factor is obsession. This sounds intense.
It can be, but maybe not in a negative way. It's described as this deep curiosity, this relentless drive to really understand and master your main area of interest.
Like you just can't get enough of learning about it. The source quoted Pat Riley, didn't it? About needing obsession for long-term success in leadership.
It did. To have long-term success as a coach or in any position of leadership, you have to be obsessed in some way. It fuels that long-term focus.
So it's not a fleeting interest. It's a deep dive, a commitment to real competence.
Exactly. They're immersed in it. Okay, moving to the external factors for raising necessity. First up is duty.
Right. This is about feeling a sense of obligation to others. Yeah.
Yeah.
A purpose beyond just yourself.
Precisely. It's recognizing that people are counting on you. Family, teammates, customers, your community, whoever it might be.
That feeling that you can't let them down. The source mentioned high performers asking, who needs me right now? Or who needs my A game?
Yeah, that question really crystallizes it. It shifts the focus. Think about soldiers acting bravely for their comrades, or a doctor pushing through exhaustion for a patient. That's duty providing motivation.
That makes sense. And the final factor for necessity is urgency.
Now, this isn't about frantic, constant rushing. It's about using real deadlines effectively.
Real deadlines. The source made a point about that defining real as having actual negative consequences if you miss it.
Exactly. It's not just a wishy-washy target date. There has to be some stake involved.
What kind of consequences?
Could be internal, like personal disappointment, or external. Maybe you miss a crucial opportunity, there's a financial penalty, or you let down people who were relying on that deadline being met.
So high performers are good at creating these meaningful deadlines or finding them.
Both, I think. They might leverage external events, make public commitments, or set up agreements with others that build in that accountability and therefore urgency.
Okay, so that covers clarity and necessity. The final habit for our deep dive today is demonstrate courage.
Right. And the sources really frame this as the linchpin. It's what turns clarity and necessity into actual impactful action. Without courage, the rest might just stay as good intentions.
There was a Harry S. Truman quote mentioned, courage is not the absence of fear, but the assessment that something else is more important than fear.
Yeah, that nails it. And Mark Twain's famous line, too, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Burchard builds on that, defining it as determined action towards a worthy goal, despite challenges or fear.
So it's not about being fearless, it's about acting anyway.
Exactly. Moving forward, even when you feel that apprehension, that uncertainty.
The source laid out 3 specific ways to actively demonstrate this courage. The first one was honor the struggle. I like this framing.
Me too. It's about facing challenges with a sense of poise, determination, rather than just getting frustrated or feeling defeated by them.
It's like changing your relationship with difficulty.
Yeah, reframing it. Instead of seeing a struggle as just a roadblock, you recognize it as necessary, part of the process of growth. The advice was literally to tell yourself, this struggle is necessary, or this is making me stronger.
That's a powerful mental shift.
Okay.
Okay, the second way to show courage. Share your truth and your ambitions.
This is about being willing to speak up, to articulate what you really think, what you believe, what you're aiming for, even if it feels a bit vulnerable.
Why is that courageous or helpful?
Well, a couple of reasons highlighted. First, just saying your goals out loud can actually strengthen your own belief and commitment to them. It makes them more real.
Right.
And second, when you share what you're trying to do, you open the door for others to potentially help. You might find collaborators, supporters, mentors, people you wouldn't connect with if you kept it all inside.
Right. It creates possibilities for connection and support. Makes sense. And the third way, this I back again, find someone to fight for.
Yep, there's that others-focused theme again. This emphasizes drawing strength from a sense of purpose that's bigger than yourself, remembering who is depending on you.
Thinking about them can give you the courage to act when you might hesitate if it was just for yourself.
That's the idea. The source points out people often find they can do much more, endure much more when they feel responsible for others. That why overrides the fear or the difficulty.
So just to quickly recap then, we dove into seek clarity, getting intentional about yourself, your social interactions, your skills development, and your service to others.
Then we looked at raise necessity, fueling your drive through your sense of identity, your focus obsession, your feeling of duty to others, and creating urgency with real deadlines.
And finally, demonstrate courage, which you can do by actively honoring the struggle, sharing your truth and ambitions, and finding someone to fight for.
And looking back across all three, that theme of being focused on others really does stand out, doesn't it?
It really does. Burchard's point that high performers are often more driven by serving others than just purely selfish goals. That seems pretty central.
Yeah, fundamental insight, it seems.
Definitely gives you, the listener, something to chew on regarding your own motivations. So as you think about these three habits, clarity, necessity, courage, maybe reflect on which one resonates most with you right now.
Yeah, where might focusing intentionally on just one of those create the biggest shift for you? How could it change your approach to whatever goals or challenges you're facing?
That's your thought to take away from this deep dive.